travelling with my daughter Kate. I'm crossing Australia. I've already done it the easy way, and now I'm on the difficult way, straight across. I'm completely knackered. Very tired. Very demanding days driving. Very technical. And I took the WA line because it's a lot easier than the French line. Less cut up. It's a challenge. This is really, and I know that we're going in the most difficult direction. Heading west is more difficult, and that is very, very obvious to me. But still, I think in both directions, this is a tough track, and I'm exhausted. I'm mentally exhausted, physically exhausted, and the last 3 hours today has been a bit of a test of endurance. Yesterday we made about 130 kilometers, and I thought, yeah, good pace. Today, about 60, so well under the pace. So this is not a 3-day crossing. This is a 4-day crossing. If tomorrow is day 3, there's no ways we're going to be across the Simpson by the end of tomorrow. Definitely not at this pace. So for me, it's a quick meal and it's early to bed. Still, it's a beautiful place.
So we've found a campsite for the evening, finally. The sun is going down. It's basically gone down now. We're both pretty exhausted, to be honest. It's just been sand dune after sand dune all day. It's actually been a crazy day. It's been really, really tiring. My eyes hurt a lot because you're going up and down sand dunes all day, and especially now when the sun was setting, it was just light dark, and it was actually quite straining on my eyes, and to be honest, I feel a little bit drugged. Luckily it's not windy. Well, there's a bit of a breeze, but it's not as bad as it was the other night. So we're gonna make some food, set up camp, and just chill because I'm absolutely knackered, and got another day of this tomorrow. So I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I'm actually looking forward to it much. It's really tiring. It's really, really tiring. That's a lot of mushrooms for, and then plus
But they shrink.
True, they do shrink.
Do mushrooms.
Oh dear. These mushrooms are on the way out. This is dinner. Very, very exciting while you eat it because it's got mushrooms in it and you never know if you're actually eating a moth, so it adds a little bit of danger.
Good morning. I like to make my films the way I want to make them, which means to me sharing what happens, not what I would like to happen, not what a TV production network would like to see happen. That's why I've always struggled to get my programs pre-financed. What's they say? Well, what are you going to do on day 14? I'm not sure. Day 21? Don't know. That's not good enough for them, you see. So I've always made shows as they roll and just present them as they roll. So that's what I'm doing this morning. It's very, very cold, but that's not my problem. My problem is exhaustion. I'm now into my 6th week, and I've been driving every single day, pushing a deadline to get back home to edit these programs, and then I'm going to Africa for 6 weeks. I'm driving almost every single day. So right now, my exhausted state, this take that I'm hoping this is going to work, this is take 5. I messed it up 4 times, not because of what I was saying, it's because I plugged the microphone in the wrong thing, and then I didn't turn the microphone on, etc., etc. So it's just an indication of my state of mind at this time. So, bringing you exactly as it is from this beautiful desert sunrise. Right now, the road yesterday was a test of endurance. It's difficult technical driving. I'm enjoying the driving. I'm without question enjoying the driving. But I'm finding it difficult to keep up a level of mental alertness and enjoying the moment. You know, I've always said, you know, you gotta take advantage of it's happening now and all of these important things when on these trips. I'm finding that really difficult right now because I'm so mentally tired. So anyway, I'm letting you know that now because the trip ahead, we may change it a bit to speed up the trip. And I'll let you know as I decide to do things, what I will do. So there you have it. Beautiful sunrise this morning. We're going to pack up. We've got a long drive. It'll be dune crossings the whole day today, I'm expecting. It's breakfast time. We've been an hour on the track, so worked up a bit of an appetite. And breakfast cereal is in there. It turns out that we're not the only ones on the track looking for their breakfasts.
He needs more traction, this guy. Yeah? He needs one of those 6-wheel drive conversions. But, oh, yes, of course he is 6-wheel drive. Look at him go.
This was the wrong way, so I went up it, took 3 attempts, again, low third, up she popped. Now I'm going to have to go back down because the way we're actually supposed to go is that way. I am really loving my truck this morning. Its performance over these sand dunes and with these new tyres, just brilliant. So that was fun, but completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Okay, away we go. This is my only in Australia moment. A desert track where the average car count is probably 2 vehicles a week and they have a speed restriction. I doubt if we've ever got to 40 in the last 3 days.
Do you see it? I just saw my first dingo. It was pretty cool. Ran out in front of the car. I got such a clear view of him. He's absolutely beautiful. He looks a lot more wild than a dog. Definitely. I kind of just pictured it like a dog, but definitely more wild. So yeah, that's pretty cool. My first dingo.
My second dingo. I saw one a while ago, not on this trip, on a previous trip. Honestly, I did. This sign demarcates the western edge of the true Simpson Desert, and all of this information, who to tell, what to take, care for the desert, safe driving, etc. Really, if you haven't actually read and understood this, arriving here and reading it, it's a little bit too late. But there is no permanent water, very difficult terrain, and people, I suppose, occasionally will foolishly just tackle it in an ordinary vehicle with no water and things like that. No backup in the case of something going wrong. So anyway, that's the first desert crossing that Kate has done in Australia. Why are you sitting on the rock?
I'm taking an Instagram photo.
It's a pretty big deal for her. And we're now here, and we're going to be heading off westerly, continuing west, and our next major stop will be the symbol of the outback. surprised to come across these. It is remarkably like the tama melon found in the Kalahari, and not a delicacy by any means, but the Bushmen use them for, they do eat them, they use them for water containers. They drill a small hole in them and they can contain water, and they're scattered over here. Really surprised to see them. Not seen them once before in Australia, and suddenly there are hundreds of them around here. And the flies are back with a vengeance, so I'll run quickly into the car, get it, hold it quickly, get in the car before they chase me, and close the door. Wow, they're back by the billion. Strange, but you know something, it's very green here. It means there's a lot of water, there's been a lot of water. It means we're back in the wet areas, and therefore the flies. More evidence of the late rains. While this is the first standing water we've seen for 3 days, it's very salty and not palatable. So, that's a beautiful place. Just the opportunities for photography here are just extraordinary if you can just live without the flies. And interestingly, you get out of the cars, first 5 minutes, not a fly, not a single fly. After 10 minutes, they send little messages, little coded messages to their buddies, and they all descend like a squadron of bombers. What? Why?
Like a squadron of bombers! Giving me flashbacks, stop.
So the secret is to get into the car without letting 1,000 flies in. And that's not easy. And we have been trying to perfect it for the last few days, and I'm pleased to say that we've got absolutely nowhere. And the worst is when they go in your mouth. Okay, so now shake it around the camera, shake it around, and climb in as quickly as possible, and then close the door. That's a record. We've only left 30 flies in. We're getting better at this. Thirsty work, this fly shaking. Bit of a shock to arrive at Dalhousie Springs. We're lots and lots of campers and lots of people around, so it's not our kind of thing to do, is to camp with lots and lots of people, and the flies are still very bad. But basically it's a spring, like a large upside down shower rose, and in the earth there are approximately 80 holes called mound springs, and are from the great artesian basin. Water basically just filters up through, keeps it full, and it's very warm. There are 3 fish species, 6 water snail species, several small crustaceans, and possibly a yabby and frog species, all living in Dalhousie Springs and nowhere else on Earth. Quite warm. Is it salty? No, it's not at all.
No, I don't think so. That's a decent ball.
Not even tiny bit salty.
I'll put that up there and I'll give it on the way back.
You want me to take it from you?
Yeah, put it up there. I just put some water in.
Hey, your beer's a bit warm.
That's water. I put the water in so it won't blow away. So I can get it back again when I come back.
It's warm. Very warm. So, a bit of a situation we've got ourselves into. There's nowhere to camp here. It's absolutely exposed. There's a lot of wind. It's completely exposed. The road is brutal. This stuff it tears tires to pieces, this stuff. And I've got pressures really, I'm down at dune pressures, and I shouldn't be driving at such low pressures. But I'm chasing the sun. I want to get to, there's a town called Mount Dare, which is not too far from us now. I'd really like to get there tonight. So I thought, well, let me just pull back on the speed a bit so I don't damage the tyres. And so it's a catch-22 situation. But it's horrible, this stuff. I hate this kind of road. And there's nowhere to camp. So I'm just going to push on. I'm just going to push and try and find a place to camp and hopefully we find something before it gets completely dark. Because then to find a wild camp in complete darkness is really difficult. Anyway, on we soldier. Ah, at last we've reached Mount Dare. But it turns out it's not what we expected at all.
We're just picking out a spot to put the car, getting it level. This place is pretty cool. I love places like this. We thought it would be a town. It's not a town, it's a hotel, it's a camping ground and a little, I don't know if you can even call it a pub.
Mount Dare is, we thought it would have a town, we thought it would have all of these other things because there were signs saying Mount Dare Hotel. It must be a town. No, it isn't, it's a hotel. That's all it is. It's a hotel with camping ground. Anyway, that's where we're here and we're going to eat out tonight. Mount Dare is just that, a hotel, bar, restaurant, fuel stop and campground in the middle of nowhere. This is what you call an out-of-the-way place. The middle of nowhere. That description doesn't do this place justice.
Basically what I sold it to you.
Okay, what would you like?
This beer, for example, is from a local microbrewery. Local. In this part of the world, local means within 1,000 miles. How's that?
That's nice.
How's?
Makes me most frustrated. We expose the brickwork.
Cheers, meteors. Very nice. I do trust that the fish was caught this morning.
It was fresh.
Fresh.
I caught it myself. Went out
Yourself.
early. Yes.
You're such a friend. Thank you very much.
He's been planning that since we got here.
I cannot begin to explain how good it feels not to be eating pasta. Beats your camp the camp cooking.
I told you not to insult my cooking. You're going to find a big green one. Isn't that rather loud?
We're being stared at.
So you met 3 different people that know you today.
3 different people that know me today. Yes, that is true. Strangers just driving past, stopping us, waving us down. Hey! It's quite nice, I guess. But I'll tell you something, I didn't expect this.
What, a really nice meal like this
This
tonight?
is good.
Yeah.
It's a really nice meal.
All finished?
Oh, it was very good. Very good indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're Andrew, right?
Yes, I am.
Seen lots of your YouTube videos.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Nice of you to
Didn't know you were
notice.
coming through here.
Yeah, we've just crossed the Simpson. It was fantastic.
Okay.
Loved it. Loved every minute of it.
All right. And you're camping tonight?
Camping here tonight, yeah. Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Can I join you for a beer later on?
Absolutely.
All right. Are you staying a bit longer?
I'll stay here a little longer. Yeah, join us.
Sure.
Thank you. This is authentic outback hospitality. There's nothing presumptuous, there's nothing forced, it's not for the tourist. Because the ordinary tourist doesn't get this far into the outback. And that is why these places are so worth visiting. Because they themselves are, the buildings, the walls have character. And it's unique to Australia. And I mean, every country has their own, but the Australian flavour is very pungent, if you know what I mean. We have quite a busy morning ahead. We have a 7-hour drive today, and we're going to go find our way to Uluru, Ayers Rock, the most famous single landmark of the outback. So I've got to get the tyres up to gravel road pressures. We've been driving up to now at sand dune pressures, down with the flag and sort out stuff. And before I leave Mount Dare, I want to leave something behind. The reason why we were able to continue our trip was actually thanks to the Flying Doctor Service. Because if I hadn't found a cure solution for my eye infection, I would have not headed out to the desert. The fact is that places like this could not possibly exist without the Royal Australian Flying Doctor Service. I'm going to leave something here in my small way of saying thank you to them. The idea is a $50 donation to the Flying Doctor Service gives you the privilege of hanging your t-shirt at the Mount Dare Hotel. There you go. We'll now go and hang this up. Actually, we'll do Andrew and Kate. And without Mount Dare being here, we couldn't have done this trip, because we would have, even with our, I mean, we are carrying far more fuel than your average four-wheel drive, and yet we would really struggle with distances. And the fact that there's fuel here opens up the whole country to us. Further west we push, mostly on wide gravel roads, which means road trains. Road trains. The amount of dust they kick up. Trying to overtake them, you have to use the radio really to, if you can get close enough behind them to actually see what frequency they're transmitting on. But there are some standard frequencies, I don't know what they are. But they are allowed to be different lengths in different parts of the country, but I know the longest, I believe it's the longest, Western Australia, they can be 56 meters long. That one there was probably about 35. This is a halfway point in our journey. This is the exact, precise halfway point, geographical centre of mainland Australia. It's called the Lambert Centre, and I owned a mapping business, and I remember poring over maps and working with maps and looking at the Lamberts. The word Lambert, the name Lambert came up again and again and again in cartography, in spherical map projections, projecting a spherical Earth onto a flat sheet of paper. He was a giant amongst cartographers, and this is a plaque commemorating Dr. Bruce Philip Lambert, OBE, 1912 to 1992. Thoughts, real rural. I'll write real surreal. How about real surreal? Real. We're about 100 kilometers from Uluru, and it's appeared in the distance. And what is striking about it immediately is the slab of rock in amongst a flat nothingness, an endless flat nothingness, and this monolith sticking out of the earth. And it's very visible, and it's almost 100 kilometers away. It's really something. So we're chasing the sun again, and we're going to try and find a campsite, not in the national park, but probably just outside, and we'll go and probably have a good look at it, hopefully early tomorrow morning. We've pushed on all day, and pretty exhausted, we've found to our delight a secluded spot on a sand dune. In the distance, we can see Uluru. This is perfect. What a beautiful campsite. Hey, what do you reckon? Really nice. Away from everybody, nobody around. actually gorgeous because the sun will come up over there, and then we can see the the big rock in the distance. Wonderful. I'm crossing the continent of Australia with my daughter Kate, and we are getting close to the finish line. One of the great pleasures of this kind of travel is that you never know where you're going to end up in the evening.
We have found the most amazing camp spot. We can literally see Ayers Rock from here. Pretty fantastic, seeing as we were on a tar road not minutes ago and we had no idea where we were going to camp, and we just found this absolute gem.
The shadow of the Earth over its own atmosphere is that dark line you see above the horizon. The sun gone down, the ancient peaks and this ancient landscape. It's just something else, and it's what draws me to this again and again and again. At moments like this, hey, the unexpected proves to be spectacular in every respect. Now I remember why I do this. Now I remember. This. We have a choice to make this morning. One of my plans was to continue from this point along a fairly straight line, continuing west to complete my journey crossing Australia. It's very easy on a trip like this, because I do it for a living, these trips, and I push myself. It's easy to forget that I'm here. I'm right now in the desert, and I'm enjoying this fantastic experience. And it's easy for me to kind of, want to kind of complete it quickly, because what I'm trying to say is that on this particular journey, and I bit off a little bit more than I can chew. That means right now another 8 or 9 days of rough corrugated bush track. The alternative is to take the road south and then head west along the coastal route, the same road as I took on my way from Perth to Melbourne. I'll let you into a secret. I've actually already completed the journey. I've been to Steep Point, which is the furthest most point in West Australia. I've already been there. I've already done that trip. My question is, will I actually enjoy another 8 days of rugged, rough bush track? And the flies are very bad. So, should I do that, or should I actually now take the coastal road and show Kate something that I thought was, it is one of the great spectacles. You have to see it if you visit Australia, and that is the continental shelf on the Great Australian Bight. It's right there. You stand on the edge of it, and the Indian Ocean, this massive ocean is right there. It's spectacular. It's something that I really want to show her. Which of those two routes should I take? We'll make that decision during the day. But first, it's time to go. But my immediate concern is the state of the sand. Will it be too soft for me to drive straight out? Right, I don't want to have to let down the tyres just to travel 5 car lengths. So we're going to try and get up here with the hard tyres. I've warmed up the engine. I don't normally warm up the engine more than 30 seconds. But I have, because I'm going to need full power. Otherwise, if this doesn't work, we have to let tyres down. Easier than I thought. Last night it was much more difficult. It's probably because it's quite cool this morning, so the sand is more densely packed. So that wasn't difficult at all. All right, let's go. Uluru is very familiar to most Australians. It's its best known landmark of the outback. Taking a little walk through the Spinifex to get to a hill. Uluru itself is incredible because it stands out over nothing. As you know, there's this broad, open, gently sloping plain, and then this monster appears. And that's its surprise. And until you get close to it, it has no... it's really something. And I was told, oh, it's just like all the pictures. No, there's something more to it than that. It's not just like all the pictures. Actually seeing it, its sheer size, its sheer volume is really something. I'm hoping at the top of this hill I will get a really amazing look at it from a distance. Taking second place only to Sydney Harbour Bridge in the Opera House, Uluru is outback Australia's iconic landmark, which of course makes it immensely popular with tourists, about 250,000 of which visit every year. This is not, as the images may suggest, a place of loneliness and seclusion. This is a holiday mecca. Crowds, traffic jams. So the question is, do we park with everybody else and go and sit and take pictures of people? I don't think so.
Pretty cool, right? We've made it to Uluru and it's pretty amazing. Everyone was kind of just saying, oh, it's a rock, it's a rock. It is so much more than just a rock. It's just sensational.
It's easy to see why this is such a popular tourist attraction. Its size, it is so imposing. And the bush around it is so beautiful. You know, a lot of Australia is very bland, grey, reddish, you know, not particularly interesting bush. This is beautiful, beautiful landscape. And you see the image there, just the trees, grass, trees, and nothing but rock, no sky, no nothing, just the shape of the rock.
No, true.
Are you rolling?
Yes.
One thing about Uluru that I have felt, though, that it is very similar in so many ways to a place called Tadilo in northwestern Botswana. It's like Uluru, is a series of hills that stands out from a very flat desert, surrounded by trees and yellow grass. There's also a spiritual energy about the place, which is very special to the Bushmen, like it is here with the Aboriginal peoples. So that is an immediate similarity that I noticed. Approaching it, seeing in the distance, seeing it up close, very imposing, really magic. But the difference is that Tadilo probably gets 300 to 400 people a year visiting it. Here it's probably close to a couple of 100,000. How are we going to do this?
Break it to them gently.
Break it to them gently?
Yes.
All right, we've decided that in fact we're not going to continue on the straight line across Australia and that we're actually going to head south and stay on the main roads. So instead of 8 days of bush track and fairly dull bush, not particularly interesting part of Australia, to show you the southern bight, the great bight of Australia and the coastline instead. The last part of the trip, which is from Mikahara to Steep Point, I have already done. In the interests of time, because I'm going to Africa this year, I had to actually do as much as I possibly could before starting this expedition, and so I drove that section in this vehicle and I did it solo. So from this point on, you'll see bits and pieces of our continued journey down south and then west, and then from the point of Mikahara you will see my journey, solo journey, to the westernmost point in Australia. And I need to tell you right now that the flies then were as bad as they are now. Well, there is our little campsite for tonight. And we found it in the typical Australian way. The sun starts to set and you slow down, you look for a track, and in anywhere but the farming areas, New South Wales and parts of Victoria, most of the rest of the country, you can find a track and it leads you to a spot like this. We're between the road that side, the railway line, it's not far away, that railway line goes up to Alice Springs and down to Adelaide, described by the Sydney Morning Herald as the railway line from nowhere to nowhere. Anyway, that's our little camp for this evening. As you can see, we were both too tired to have a nice fire. I think we both retired at about 8, maybe even before then. No pudding, just supper and to bed. Wow, this is amazing the way We've taken a shortcut, about 380 kilometres of remote gravel road. We reckon it'll save us about 6 hours and be far more interesting than staying on the asphalt. And we were right. This is almost pure salt.
What's that?
Listen. You hear that? Absolutely nothing. I can hear the blood being pumped through my ears and my knees. That's how quiet it is. I can actually hear the blood being pumped through my knees. This is the Great Australian Bight National Park that I visited 6 weeks ago.
That's insane! Literally on the edge of Australia. I like that it kind of goes out a bit. If it was sheer down, I think I wouldn't be this close to the edge.
So I pulled over for the night. Flies here are bad. Must be near a cattle area. But then again, I'm actually told it doesn't matter if you're near a cattle area or not. The flies can be bad. They are bad. I had to do this talk to camera inside the car this morning. I haven't had time to even wipe my face with a flannel or have a sip of water or anything. I'm just getting back onto the track because the flies this morning. I got up at, well, it was, I suppose, about 10 minutes before sunrise. Flies. 3 months previously, I tackled the final quarter of the Trans-Australia Drive. I did it on my own. This is that story. Alright, I couldn't do my normal stand-up next to my campsite, talk to camera and be all fresh and spontaneous this morning because the flies were hideous. They were very bad last night and they were really bad this morning, and I got up before sunrise. So anyway, I'm back on the road and feeling very grubby because I didn't have enough time or anything. I just couldn't do anything. The flies were... Anyway, so I just packed everything up, and that's the beauty of this campsite. Literally it was 4 minutes and I was done and on the road. Meekatharra is now behind us. Is it Meekatharra or Meekatharra? Now, you Australians that give me a hard time about the pronunciations, you're allowed to. Because I remember being in Africa and hearing English people and Australian people and get the names and all wrong, and it was a big chuckle, and so it's payback time because I used to laugh at you. The road from Meekatharra to the westernmost point is a jumble of roads that link cattle stations. And here, a bit of tarmac, very badly maintained, very rough. I've got about 360 kilometers of that to do today. I do not know the conditions of the road. I'm expecting they're going to actually be quite good and quite fast. And my plan is to see the sea today. Whether I will get to the most westerly point and end my journey today, I don't know. Let's see how it goes. I'm now going to go and freshen up because the flies stopped me doing that this morning. Toothbrush. My phone's ringing. You hear it? Hello? Hello? I am brushing my teeth. It's my reminder to brush my teeth. I don't remember a time that I've ever actually experienced flies quite so badly as last night. I don't remember ever having it. And I have a net, a face net, that I kept in here, and I'm not sure if I've ever used it before. I might have. I've had it in my truck for years and years and years. I might have used it before. I probably have. But I just don't remember the last time I used it. Right. Put in the code. I put the same code in here as I do for my phone, so I don't forget it. You guys. You think I don't carry a comb? Proof. Ha! Right. Water. Brushing teeth. Now, while on camp, my fix, unlike most people, is a cup of coffee. My fix is an orange juice. Actually, strangely enough. Why would that be? I don't know. Oops. Signs of the late rains. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to make it all the way through to the coast. During the wet season, these roads are impassable. Okay, we've got a bit of mud. It's the road, Murchison River. It's overflowing the road. Drop here. Typical of travelling in these very large areas through cattle stations on fairly well maintained roads is that when entering an area you'll see very, very large signposts with all of the cattle stations and small settlements, even the tiniest ones, named, and a placard saying whether the road is open or closed. And it's necessary because the distances are so long that maybe, you know, one stretch will be 200, 300, 400, 500 kilometers long, and perhaps it's blocked at the far end, like the river we've just crossed. At the far end you've got, you know, 400 kilometers behind you, and now the road is closed and you have to go back that same 400 kilometers. Maybe you don't have the fuel. So it's a very, very necessary service, and I'm grateful for it because so far the roads have said we're all open, therefore I'm pretty confident that I'm going to get there without having a problem. I have to rest. I've been at the wheel now for close to 4 hours. It is 38 degrees outside. And the reason why I guess I'm not taking nearly as many breaks as I would normally take is because of the flies. But I just have to get out of the car. The beautiful sky, clear with the cumulus clouds, nice gliding weather actually. And the road's been actually quite easy going. Bit of mud, a few water crossings, but and I've actually been enjoying the drive enormously. Not long now, less than 100 kilometers to the sea. Hot. While I will remember this as this fantastic last stretch towards the west coast, I will remember it more for the flies than anything else. Just gotta, I'm getting a stiff back. I've got nobody to give me a massage or anything. Just been sitting in the car for so long now, it's getting a bit on me. Okay, after, it's exactly 12 hours since I left my little campsite this morning. I left in a big hurry because of the flies, and I finally
now I understand this place, because it was just road after road after road, turning, and not a lot, and suddenly the landscape has just opened up. And so here we are in a proposed Overland National Park, and well, I'm actually pretty excited to be here. Lowering tire pressures, and well, there's the map, and we are here. I'm going to drive along here, and I'm going to try and find some place to camp. I better get going, otherwise it's going to get dark. I don't know where one camps. One thing is for sure, there is no escaping the wind for me tonight. It is really blowing very, very hard. So that's not going to happen. But is this a good place to camp? It's exposed, yes, but it's beautiful. I can't go to the designated campsite. That's, I reckon, 2 hours from where I am now. I don't think it's less than that. So I do have time, and I'm going to make use of it to maybe find a better campsite, but this is a possibility. This looks promising, and I may be shielded from the wind. I found a place. The only blemish is that there's a pump over there that I can hear the noise from. I am shielded from the wind a little bit, but not much. Hopefully the wind will die down a little bit. But the vehicle's actually very comfortable. It's the beauty of it, actually. Even with this really quite strong wind, I can be completely protected. The noise from the pump is disturbing. As long as the wind doesn't shift, it shouldn't be too bothersome. So tomorrow I'll definitely see the furthest most westerly point. These are tidal inlets that run right down next to this. Is basically a peninsula, and the furthest west point is from where I'm standing now in that direction over there. It's probably, my guess would be, an hour and a half drive. We'll go there tomorrow morning, and we'll call it a day. Right, my evening meal is on. The wind is still quite strong, so I'm cooking here instead of on the side of the vehicle where I normally cook. What have I done today? Woke up at about 5:30ish, where we were by 5:45. I'd left the campsite because of all the flies. They woke up as early as I did. The day, quite rough roads, some quite good roads, good navigation, lots of turns, lots of constantly checking where I was and how the day was going. Hit pretty high temperatures. Hit 38 today, very high temperatures, and cooled dramatically as I came down to the coast. This piece here was really a lot of unknown. The maps didn't give me much information. Nice drive though, and kind of almost a last minute campsite. I like to start looking for a campsite at about 5 o'clock. This one I found at, in fact it was after 6. Good morning. Terrible, terrible night. Well, this is where I ended up last night. As you can see, not the same place where I went to sleep. About 3 o'clock in the morning I finally got to sleep, and I'm in a different place because the wind veered. The noise from the generator across the water became so loud, woke me up. That was sleep gone. So then I moved to find another place. After driving along the track in the middle of the night, found another place, pointed the car into wind, except I was in the teeth of the wind, and it was blowing gale force. So the whole vehicle was rocking. So I packed it away again, and eventually ended up here, and woken this morning with an acute neck pain. I don't have any anti-inflammatories with me, and so I've got to endure the day with quite a painful neck. I'm just going to try and not think about it. And today, of course, is our last day, because we will see and reach the most westerly point on the Australian mainland. That's going to be pretty exciting. The wind is still blowing very hard. I think it's very unlikely that I'm going to be able to fly the drone, because that would have been magnificent to fly the drone. So
just have to live with it, really, won't I? Such a contrast to Byron Bay that is so well developed, and they celebrate the fact that it's the easternmost point of the mainland, and here it's just a dirt track. But what I did do is have a nice shower last night and feeling a little bit refreshed this morning, and I've let my tyres down to 18 psi. It's the final few kilometres of my expedition to cross the continent of Australia. The diversity of Australia's coastline never ceases to amaze me. And this is it. Steep Point, Western Australia. So this is the most western piece of land here, and those cliffs over there were the ones that we were photographing an hour ago. So, finished! I was told when I checked in, when I asked for a campsite, she said to me, "You're very lucky, because had this been between April and October," she said, it's basically booked up. People book some of the campsites a year in advance, particularly at Steep Point, where there's an amazing fishing spot, fishing off the rocks. And these ones here, I was very lucky. She told me that she had a spot for me tonight. But if you're going to come here, you have to book well in advance. And I want to bring my family here. And you know something? I'm actually going to ask for this very camping spot, because it is so secluded. The rest of the camping, this is the last camping spot. All of the others are far from me. Basically got this entire spot to myself. It's very salty. But anyway, thank you for watching very much. For those Patreons, my Patreon supporters, you know who you are. You are the guys that makes this all possible. Thank you, really, from the bottom of my heart.